Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning in beautiful Roseville, California, and one of your co-hosts of the Do or Do Not podcast. And this is...
My name is Brad Erie. I'm his Padawan.
My Padawan learner.
That's right.
Damn, what do they call the before they become a Padawan? Oh, they're
Youngling.
Yeah, but there's another name for them.
Proud owner of 2, almost 3 lightsabers.
There you go.
Got 1 on the way.
There you go. He made them at Disney World, which is one of the reasons why we haven't had a podcast for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Brad had to miss a podcast and then went on vacation, then got sick.
Sick is not a strong enough word for what I had.
Yeah. Probably the norovirus.
It was majestic what went through our family. I mean,
the sewer system was not happy with you.
Oh my gosh. It was a mess. If you've ever had all of your family members throwing up and sick at the same time.
I don't know if we've had them all. It definitely is in 1 week we've had everyone sick. But...
It was like, Daddy, I just threw up on the stairs. Okay, let me go. And then I hear my son somewhere in the house. I'm like, I can't take it.
It's like that scene in Stand By Me where one person pukes and then everybody pukes.
It was.
Yeah, so we've been off for a while thanks to Brad's escapades. He went to Disney World and supported
I gave him all my money.
The evil empire.
I did. Kathleen Kennedy.
You could have gave me all your money.
Well, I've given you over the years lots of money.
I know, but you need to give me more. But he went and supported Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy at Disney World in Florida. So he's been gone for a while, and we just have been off. So we're gonna get back in. How do you like the Evil Empire? How was it?
You know what? I gotta admit, Star Wars Land was pretty freaking cool. I hate to say it. Went in there, and I'm like, yeah, all right. I told the whole family, my kids, about the Kathleen Turner of it all. Kathleen Kennedy, sorry, of it all.
Don't insult Kathleen Turner.
Man,
what a voice that woman had.
Yes, and like, we're just gonna do the bare minimum stuff. Flash forward like 15 hours. I'm like in the Millennium Falcon, just screaming louder than my kids as we're doing a smuggler's run, and I'm shooting things, and I'm just my kids are like, okay, Dad, like, why don't you just keep the enthusiasm at an 8, not a 22 on a 1 to 10 scale. Yeah,
I'm sure I would like those. I just can't support anything Disney until Kathleen Kennedy's gone. Now everybody thinks she's gone, but she's not really gone. So breaking news while Brad was gone.
Yeah,
was that Kathleen Kennedy would be leaving Lucas film by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And although part of that might be true, but everybody came out saying she's gone, the Wicked Witch is gone, blah, blah, and everybody was all happy. And I told Brad, I go, no, not until they lock the doors on her and don't let her back in. That's the only time that woman's gone.
I've been hurt too many times.
So I didn't get all excited. I was a little bit, I was happy. I heard that, people talk about it. But then she comes out, and here's from my understanding what is going to happen.
Yeah.
She is going to step down by the end of the year. I think her contract will be up from what people have said, but nobody really knows what her contract is because she keeps upping it. It was supposed to be May of 2024. And then she just kept going. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Disney doesn't announce a lot of these things. But when Brad was telling me it was Variety and Hollywood Reporter reporting it, I was like, I don't believe those motherfuckers. They said Captain America, what is it? Captain Black
New
America.
World Order.
Yeah.
Brave New World.
Captain Black America came out, and they said it cost $180 million. But they don't tell you that they did like another $180 million movie for it, but they had it under a different... So what they do in these movies is they make them a corporation.
Yep.
And so then they spend the money on it. Then they go and do all the research and they make it another corporation. And like they didn't get away with it in the past. Like apparently when they were in Britain, they had to disclose how much money they spent.
Yeah.
And they would say they would spend, we spent $150 million on this. Then you find out it was $350 million on a movie because they had to disclose. They had 2 separate LLCs. or corporations, and they had to figure it out. So I don't. So these Hollywood Reporter and Variety report what the garbage that Disney tells them, or who leaks it from Disney or whatever. So I never believe it. So when Kathleen Kennedy was supposed to be gone, I said, I don't know. And then what does she do? Like 3 or 4 days later, comes out and says, I'm not gone. I'm not retiring. I'm not leaving. She goes, she's apparently going to step down. Oh, hold on. She's apparently going to step down as the head of the president of Lucasfilms, but she's still going to be executive producer on like 2 movies and the Mandalorian movie.
I will take it. Step down.
Anyway, so that's not good enough for me to come back to Disney Star Wars and start like having a little bit of hope, because I don't believe in Filoni very much.
Yeah.
There's rumors that Filoni's the main guy who's going to take over, but also like Jon Favreau, and there's a couple other people that have been rumored to possibly take over being president of Lucasfilms. They're grooming. Yeah, nobody wants that guy after the failures he's had in the last 3 or 4 years.
That's why he's probably going to get it.
Hey,
can't do any worse.
I don't know. You can do worse. You can keep going down the same direction you're going. So, instead of, I don't know. There's all this stuff that Disney has planned, and it's great, but it's Disney Star Wars. It's not George Lucas Star Wars. It's not the stuff that brings the happiness, the imagination, expands your thinking. The George Lucas stuff that we had never seen before, and that was just always meaningful and always had like little plot twists.
Yeah.
And, what is this? Whoa, what's this? And then great action scenes, and then just great character development too. And the bad guys, you still like them too, even though they were bad guys and you really hated them, but man, they're pretty cool, and that kind of stuff. Disney is completely crapped all over, and I don't know if they can recover from everything they've done. Yeah, I really don't. I'm not optimistic. I would love it. I'd say there's a 5 to 10% chance they can recover after what Kathleen Kennedy's done to them over the last, 12, 13 years.
I think short term, I think they're going to have a really tough time, but being in Disneyland and seeing all the kids who are totally buying in to a lot of the different stuff, I think they need like 3 good movies. Now, I saw some of the movies.
What are those movies going to be?
I don't know. I don't have faith. Well, who's the next one coming out is...
It's Mandalorian and Grogu's the next movie.
Yeah, but the one after that takes place like 5 years after episode 9.
Yeah.
With what's his name?
I don't. Okay, here's the problem with the whole thing. They're also going to still incorporate people from the trilogy series into it. So they're continuing that timeline. Here's the only shot that I think they have is for the scrap.
I know where you're going. I
retcon everything that Kathleen Kennedy did. And you can pick and choose a cut. Like Mandalorian was great. Grogu was great. If you want to include a few of these really good characters, Rey never sees the light of day again.
Yeah, that's
Finn never sees it. Poe Dameron never. All these people are gone from the trilogy series. None of them are ever talked about again. And then you start over and you go down more of the book series route.
Recast.
And
Skywalker, Han Solo,
but I don't even know if
Princess
I want those things redone. I want the continuation of it with new characters. You recast them, and then you have them grow older, and then you go to the Old Republic.
Yeah,
you go. That's what I want to see.
I think they should do it all.
They could redo everything.
Yeah,
and you stop bringing in producers that don't want. Okay, so not every, all the current Disney Star Wars bitches out there that watch stuff and they act like it's really good and they don't really know the good stuff that was out there. Notice how I only used one bad word when describing them. Or
that's restraint.
It's not even bitches. I apologize for calling you bitches. Ignorant. You just don't have the education and the knowledge because you didn't read the books. And I know that George Lucas does not feel that the books are canon either, and that he had his whole vision of what he wanted to see happen. And I'm fine with his vision with what he wanted to do, but those books are and I've said it 1,000 times on the podcast. Those books are a wealth of storytelling, character development, just great storylines, and you can tweak them for movies and TV shows and stuff. But God damn it, you can't keep doing. Oh, we got a Rey movie coming still. They're still saying that they got a Rey movie coming, even though we've heard it's been postponed.
Again,
and then we're gonna have 5 years after, the trilogy series, but there's going to be characters brought in from the trilogy series, but a bunch of new ones too. I don't want any characters from that piece of crap trilogy that Kathleen Kennedy put out. that's ruined Star Wars. I don't want any of that. I want you to start. You know what? I don't even mind if you never talk about the Skywalkers again.
No.
And you go back to the old Republic and you start building a whole legacy of characters.
Do both.
You know, because there's great storylines you can do for them. There's so much you can draw from, but they want to seem to regurgitate this trilogy series. You know, and then we get Dawn of the Jedi, and anyone who's read the books and looked at went, oh, right, we're excited. And then James Mangold's like, oh, no, I'm not going by any of that. I'm making my own. I'm writing my own script for it. I don't want those guys. Get them out. I want you to guys who have read the books and who want to like go, oh, this is really good stuff. We have whole books written. Why do I need to write a script? Why don't I just take what's in the book and write a script about what's in the book? You know, you can't put everything that's in a book.
That would be
but you already got the huge story. But no, I want to put my stamp on it. Go fuck yourself. That's what we don't want that. People that love Star Wars that have read hundreds of hours of the books.
Yes.
Don't want
hundreds and hundreds.
People in Hollywood that don't even love Star Wars to put their own stamp on it. Oh, I remember watching the trilogy series. Or some of them are like, I watched it on DVD.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, go get the hell out of here, Leslie Headland.
You know what I would do?
What I mean? These are people that should not be touching Star Wars. And I'm hoping that Dave Filoni, who is one of those people who's very knowledgeable of the books.
Yeah.
I mean, all these characters that are being drawn in from the books, they pick and choose what they want to bring in.
Yeah.
You know, Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
Is he ever in any of the canon until recently when Acolyte brought him in? He's in the books. It's not canon.
No.
You know, and so they pick and choose these characters from the books that are legends. You know, and then they bring them in, but they don't write the story that was built up around them that were in the books. They write their own little stories about characters. So they don't even take the effort to create their own character. They draw from the books, and then they act like it's their new special thing. Go fuck yourself.
Now, see, I would do.
I'm trying not to cuss as much.
Yeah, well,
like
failed.
I've been very, very. I've been watching the Chosen.
I heard that's good.
It is really good. I'm trying to be more Christ-like, but I can't help myself. I've cussed for too many years, and when I get worked up, I start spewing.
Well, when it gets about Star Wars
and Kathleen Kennedy,
I wish they would do. Yeah, we get some weird thing on my computer.
Yeah, I get worried that we're going to be recording. And we're going to be going, oh, that was
as long as you see the red box.
Yeah, I looked over the red box. I go, all right, don't update why we're doing this.
But, I wish that they would do what J.J. Abrams did to Star Trek. Like, you know, he recast all of the main characters.
Great casting, too.
Great casting. Switched the timeline by one little thing. Like, it's
great. I watch them. I still watch them.
Yeah.
Now, I watch any of the new Star. I watched 20 minutes of, what is it, Section 31 or whatever.
I didn't watch any of those.
I watched 30 minutes of it, and I had to turn it off. I go, this is the biggest pile of horse shit. Anyway, we won't even go down that path. But Star Trek, look at what he did.
Yeah.
But let's say you don't even do that. You just go, you pretend like the sequel trilogy never happened.
Yeah. A different timeline.
Never happened.
Different timeline.
We forgot all about it. Rey never existed. All this bullshit never happened.
Same thing with Star Trek.
Great. The Solo movie never happened.
Never happened.
You know, although, you know what? I don't hate the Solo movie. It wasn't horrible, but, you know.
Cast him again then. This is what
I don't mind that. And I don't mind, like, they've talked about doing a Lando movie and a Lando TV show. I didn't mind Donald Glover as a young Lando Calrissian. I thought he was pretty good. And I like the guy who played Han Solo, you know.
Cast him again.
I don't have a problem with that. Here's what I liked. So here, watching Daredevil Born Again last night, the first 2 episodes, which you did not. They showed a little trailer for the Andor season 2 coming out. It's coming out. Very excited. It looked good. I'll be honest.
Are you gonna hold your line?
I'm gonna hold my line. Though. I'm not gonna watch it. But I had a hard time when I was watching. I was like, "Oh, this looks pretty good."
Yeah.
And I was like, and the first season was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Star Wars. It was just a dramatic show that was based in that world. This one looks like they're flying ships and bombing shit, and they're resistance. And then they have a video of a TIE interceptor, which we've never seen in real life, in the trailer. It got me excited. I don't know. I may have to watch it. I don't know, because the first one was really good. I will give credit where credit is due. Yeah. The first Andor I really liked. I didn't mind the Han Solo movie. I didn't think it was good. I thought it could be way better. There's so much that Disney does that you go, even when it's good, you go, but if you would have done this, or if you would have done that, you're watching it going, why didn't they do this? You know, like, because real Star Wars fans know the story and the background of what they could have done, and they don't do it, and then we go, listen, it's all right.
Listen to my master plan and tell me if there's a flaw. All right, you cast, you do the J.J. Abrams, you switch the timeline, you recast Luke, Leia, that group, and you follow them into their adventures. You see peak Luke, you see the kids. I want
peak Luke on screen.
You see Jade, you see all of them. You see that whole thing. Those are movies.
Okay. But don't cast them to look like freaking Mark Hamill just for the hell of it, because Mark Hamill's nuts. I mean, that guy's way out there in left field.
You cast people that do the Spirit, just like JJ did with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, right?
Yeah, and he was great.
You do those movies. That gives you like 9 movies. Yeah. Then you take the Old Republic and you make that like a Game of Thrones, high budget, formatted TV series for Star Wars Live. Like, you start with my guy, I just had his name, who was
it embarrasses me. I can't even know the
starts with the R.
Darth Revan, or just Revan. He was a Jedi, went to become a Darth.
Start with Revan,
went back to light,
and you make him like the 7-season Game of Thrones level.
You start out when he's a young or a Padawan, or he's a Jedi Knight, like in the book.
Yes.
And then you follow him through his journey into darkness, and then the whole Mandalorian where he kills the Mandalorian, gets his mask.
All of that.
All of it. All the way back till he comes back. Because also what you have in that situation is you have the Sith Empire.
Yep.
They have their own homeworld stuff, and they're fighting with they fight with the Republic back and forth, and they win, they lose, they win, they lose. And so you go
9 seasons of that.
God, it would be
9 seasons of
so far year. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. Continue on.
So the movies about the Skywalker that let you have, like, being invaded by the
Yuzong Vong.
Yes, and like those are your big movies. Like, you can say, all right, and you do that. That's like 9 movies. You have like Luke from learning to be Luke from Return of the Jedi to peak Luke is like your first 3, and then you have like your peak Luke, and you have like the battle or whatever is like your second trilogy.
He's not at his peak.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't really get to his peak till like 30 years after the movie, because he just keeps gaining knowledge and getting more powerful.
Is like Luke at God level, and like him doing his final stuff, and then off he goes into the Force.
And in the books, in the books, he never dies, but he's very diminished by the final battle in the books.
And that's the last of the 9 movies, the end of the true Skywalker saga. Like, you have kids and their kids, all of it.
Oh yeah.
And like, it reminds me
the Jaina and Jannah and Anakin, the solo kids. That story is so good. And if they would,
why waste it?
That's why it boggles my mind how these people are. This is why I cuss when I talk about Kathleen Kennedy and anybody involved. Dave Filoni has to know that story is gold.
Proof of concept. It sold how many millions of copies of the book?
Oh, it's so good, and I don't understand why they. And this is my problem with this. Kathleen Kennedy is effed up Star Wars, Lucasfilms so much. I don't know if it can come back, because they've gotten so far away from what George Lucas was doing, and also what all the people he licensed to be his creators in the book world. There is 40-something years past. Well, there's even books that are even further past where Luke Skywalker isn't even alive anymore, and his descendants are doing. I haven't really gotten into those books, but I go all the way up to where the books ended when Disney took over. Maybe final 8 or 9 book series.
Can't you picture like the last shot of Luke was like the last shot of Conan, in the movie, where it's like an old Conan sitting on his throne, Conan the Barbarian, and you just see like a Luke with like the long hair, or just like he's the master of it all. And he's just beat up and tired of this war-torn thing. So like, that's it. Give us that.
And his son, Ben Skywalker, has become a very powerful Jedi master.
And then if you want to,
Jaina, the sword of the Jedi.
Yes.
Like
9 movies of that. You have this long format television show that you can do the Old Republic.
If you
print the money.
So if you've never read the books, this is actually a good topic to talk about. If you've never read the books, and I talk about the Jaina, Jason, and Anakin solo. So Jaina and Jason are twins that are born, both very powerful Jedis.
Yeah.
Jason eventually, because of the Yugoslavia War and torture he suffered and wanting to make the galaxy safer and better, turns to the dark side and becomes Darth Kaitis. And he kills Mara Skywalker, Luke's wife. Who's a master, and they had a brutal battle, and she almost won, but he kills her. Think of that emotional story being told. It's a no-brainer, but people at Lucasfilm are like, oh, okay.
But think about the death of Chewbacca and that story told.
Mentally challenged people in Hollywood. That's the problem. They're compromised. They all want, I made this, I created this, but they create shit and none of us like it. And then they wonder why we don't buy it.
I mean, what Chewbacca's death did to Han Solo's son, like set up that whole trilogy right there. Like, you know, I mean, it's gripping. And
instead we had Han Solo killed. That's why you have to retcon everything that is.
Well, that's why you do the J.J. Abrams thing. If you recast, you say this is a slightly altered.
You didn't have to say it. Just you ignored those original ones.
Do it.
They're like, you know, like the last one made $2 billion, and it's like, and it fucked up everything else to come in the future, and it should be number one on the list right now. If they would have done that sequel trilogy, Avatar would not be up at the top of the list. Star Wars would. They've fucked it up so bad that they're happy that one of the Star Wars movies is now number 5 on the list of all time, and it's that stupid, crappy last one. But with that being said, that one should have been way above Avatar if it was done right.
Can you imagine if they would have done like some of the books? They would still be cranking out movies every 2 years, making $1 billion because the story only gets stronger.
So if you think freaking the stupid trilogy series, the last one made $2 billion.
Yeah.
And how crappy was it and how much it was panned? Hardly anybody went and saw it a second time that isn't a total ass clown. Because after I watched it once, I was like, I don't even know if I want to see it a second time because I was so unimpressed with it. I was like, what a shit show. And so people like me who are huge Star Wars fans who would have went probably to the movie theater 3 or 4 times and saw it, if it was good, didn't go. That's where you start going, instead of $2 billion, it could have made $4 billion. It could have made $5 billion worldwide. It's just boggles your mind at how stupid Kathleen Kennedy is and how retarded everybody at Disney is and how screwed up they are because you're not sticking to great source material. You're trying to create your own stuff, and you're not Kathleen Kennedy is not creative at all. No. And I think she probably knows that, but she takes creators that are trying to be creative and just sticks her freaking knife in them and twists it around until their creativity's gone and she's doing what they wanted and she's not good at it.
Well, I think that she's trying to say, okay, I'm going to find a creator who is not, really into Star Wars. And like, here, I want you to be creative, but not creative within the Star Wars universe. And these other like indie directors and stuff who should not be making these super big budgeted movies. You're like, I want to put my own personal beliefs in this Star Wars.
Leslie Headland, she comes in and gives a great pitch of an idea for a show. And so she gives her a freaking acolyte because, and she says, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but then asks specific questions that you could have asked me. I would have, and I'm not a Star Wars nerd. I'm not one of those guys who are regurgitating.
You're a nerd with a lowercase n.
Yes. Like there's guys that can tell you, this BBY, was this, and this, and and they're like tell you dates and so I can't do all that. BBY I do know all the lightsaber fighting forms, but
that is pretty dirty.
But it's pretty nerdy. And I've read hundreds of hours of Star Wars books, so I have a good base of knowledge. But I'm not like Ryan Kennel. You know who that guy is? He's really good at he's really knowledgeable in that way too. He has more of I think an autistic brain than I do, where he can regurgitate that information. I
just wish there could be plenty of creative people who can take that book material.
All you have to do is make a screenplay out of the book.
Yeah, and you could still
some
be
of those
creative
books
in
could
it.
be 2 or 3 movies.
Yes,
and a lot of them are 2 or 3 books.
So, like, you could still be creative within the confines of these story arcs, like you can still put personal touches and different things in there. But I don't know. It's just like you have this proof of concept that's made tons of money, that's beloved by the fans, who is like just dripping with potential. And you're like, you know what? We're just going to go away and kill the cast that everyone loves and then replace them with people that they don't love as much. I mean,
So here's the problem, and let's relate it to politics, and we won't get into a political discussion today. All right. So you feel that you've always felt like you're probably like a classic liberal Democrat or middle. You feel you're an independent, middle of the roader, but
yes,
your views are very like classic liberal, like a Democrat from the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
Okay. So your party has left you, right? They don't have the same belief system that you have.
Yes.
Okay. So you have a group in Hollywood. They don't care about the Democratic Party doesn't care about you very much because you're not radical. You're not progressive enough.
Yeah.
You'll actually make sense and common sense about stuff.
Yeah. Compromise.
And they'll be like, we got to stand up and resist, stuff. And they just won't work. They care about themselves. That's what Hollywood is. They care about themselves and their names. They don't take this great material and give anybody else credit. They want to bring their people in and write their scripts based on this. And then they'll pick somebody from this book. This character from this book, we're going to put it, but we're going to give our own spin on it.
Yeah.
And then it's so frustrating because those people don't care about the real fans. They don't care about you. Yeah. They don't care about me. We're real fans. This guy just went and spent a bunch of money at Disneyland and Star Wars.
So much money.
Is that 20-year-old Star Wars fan or 25-year-old Disney Star Wars fan going and doing that stuff?
No.
But you know what? You
get away from your core.
When you get away from your core, and then you wonder why you're not making money anymore. You're wondering why this stuff's making more money than yours is. Why Avatar is making $5 billion, in a movie when you're only making $2 billion because you're giving a shit. And just the name is the only thing that's still Star Wars.
Can I just add this point that's just like adding the cherry to what you're saying?
Yeah.
When you go to Star Wars Land in Disney World, right? They have the Millennium Falcon. They have your pictures with Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, R2-D2, C-3PO. Those are the main draws. Mm-hmm. All right. You don't see too many Rays. There is no Finn. There is no Poe. Brief, minor little bit of Kylo Ren, but it's mostly Darth Vader. It's the classic. They know where their bread is buttered. People aren't rushing.
And you know why? If you would have went a few years ago, they were still trying to shove that sequence, and they realized they pivoted and said, people are coming here for the real Star Wars, not Disney Star Wars, real Star Wars. And they got smart at the park level and said, we need to switch back to the characters that people actually want.
All the ships and stuff that they have, like they have this ship here.
Snowspeeder.
They have the Millennium Falcon, which I was in. They don't have the new ships that they do. They don't have anything. They don't have the prequels or the sequels. They have the big three. And that's all that they showcase.
That's what people want. And why do they want it? Because it was so well done.
Yes.
It's inside of us as Star Wars fans what we experienced when we watched those movies.
It was awesome.
The prequels, I like them. I like them. They're good movies. I will go back and watch them. They're great. Then the sequel trilogy was complete crap because that was Disney Star Wars.
Look,
and Disney Star Wars is horseshit besides a few couple shows that made it out that were halfway decent. Mandalorian and Mandalorian Season 2
Jon Favreau
saved them.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau. And some other directors and stuff did it, and the characters and stuff. And then Disney goes off the deep end.
Timothy Zahn should replace Kathleen Kennedy. That's what I'd say.
Well, he's just a writer. Just take his material. Take his material.
He knows
and let him write these
well.
Screenplays. He has assisted in the past.
And be like, all right, Timothy, we want to take, this guy and we're going to make him female. And then instead of this, we're going to make him pink instead of purple. And we're going to give them a funky. No. I wrote it this way because this is what I wanted.
Yeah, you give him creative control over the screenplay, and he just there's one person he has to get it approved by, Dave Filoni, and then after that, it's like, okay,
do it,
director. Here's the screenplay. Make it work.
Yeah, make it beautiful.
That's your job. It's not to sit there and try to critique things and say, what is going on with your computer?
My computer, all right, first of all, for those that not to know, this computer is older than my kids. This computer is old, but it's just saying it needs updates because I refuse to update it.
It freaks me out every time
I know.
I see it. I'm like, oh, is it still recording?
So this could be a really short podcast. Like we're doing all this talk, but yeah, it was a good 10-minute podcast.
Yeah, it was great.
Cuts off.
So anyway, to wrap up the Star Wars talk is the slate of movies coming out. Kathleen Kennedy is going to be executive producer on stuff all the way through like 2027, 2028 on stuff. I'm hoping she'll just get credit for it and she won't have any say and won't be at the studio to do this stuff, that she'll just get credit for being there. But I don't trust that. And I don't trust Disney. I don't trust them until they prove themselves. They have to prove themselves for an extended period, and they have to put somebody in place. I got to be honest. I used to be a huge Dave Filoni fan. I'd hear him talk about the books and, the Mandalorian and Thrawn and all. You would hear him talk and you go, that's our guy. But he hasn't been our guy when it comes to making product.
First of all,
this Mandalorian Grogu movie better be the best goddamn Star Wars movie they've made in forever.
You don't know what Filoni Unleashed is yet.
I don't know yet. I'm hopeful.
We haven't seen him Unshackled. I will say before we wrap up, a guy that I follow, I don't know if you heard, Mark Bernardin. He does Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith. He's really he's an old time reporter, but now he writes for like Star Wars video games and comic books and stuff like that. He was saying that what he heard on the grapevine was that Disney has reached the saturation point of like, even with Marvel, of like, we can't make bombs anymore. Like that's the reason why Kathleen Kennedy is being. And
they put Dave Filoni in charge of creative control. Approval has to come from
Bob
him.
Iger is like, look, we spent $180 million for the lowest rated, least watched series on our channel. He told Kevin Feige, like, okay, no more She-Hulk, no more, shows on this. Like you get like 3 movies every 4 years.
Marvel her.
It's
female Arvel.
This is coming down from like, okay, so his thinking is like out of sheer point of desperation that they will take.
I'm hoping that they're that desperate.
They will take what they feel is the most profitable way forward for Star Wars, and that is banking on well-told stuff that has a proven track record, and that means scripts and books that have been out there. And like instead of like, hey, let's introduce new characters, it's much safer to be like, hey, let's introduce very popular characters that have not had the movie time before.
Yeah.
So he is Here's a little bit.
All the Star Wars people for years, and I'm sure Filoni's and Favreau's and that thing, have been saying they need to make Knights of the Old Republic series or movie series.
Who would not pay to see Revan on this?
It's mind-boggling that they can't do this, because some of the Sith from back then were such evil badasses. They had so much more power, or had really specific powers, and stuff. There was like guilds there. Some were like better fighter, hand-to-hand lightsaber fighters. Then you had alchemy. And you had, all this stuff where, it was really cool.
So it was been reported, I don't know if this is true.
Darth Bane.
That there was.
Let me tell you, Darth Bane. Yeah. One of the best characters along with Revan ever in a Star Wars book.
There was.
Trilogy of books.
An idea to have a TV show, like an anthology of like all the biggest Sith. Of like, where did they come from? What did they do? And then like you would have a season where like, episode 1 is like 70 minutes of like Darth Bane. You know, from his beginnings to the powerful, from
Darth Bane deserves a whole series of.
But like, some guy had the idea of like, let's introduce these characters. Like, let's really
people who haven't read the books, don't know as enough.
And it's like the story of the Sith. Like, all right, let's start from like the beginnings of like the Sith planet all the way to whatever, and just like,
if you're watching this and you don't know the characters we're talking about, but you saw they're talking Star Wars, and I'm gonna start listening, and you're still listening as the screen blinks on your name.
That's it for today, folks.
That's it for today. We're done. Go read the book, Revan.
Yeah.
I got Brad to read it. Did you not love it?
I read it twice.
Yeah, he loved it. And then there's 3 books. There's 3 books on Bane. There's a trilogy of books on Bane. Read those 3 and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. How these characters would translate onto the screen, and their stories are so good. Now, there's stories in the book, not the one that Disney Star Wars will try to tell. We're going to take Darth Bane and make a trilogy, but we're not going to use any of the content from the books. James Mangold doesn't want to read the book and know what they did back then. He's going to create his own storyline with it, which pisses all of us off. And you got to play to the people that are making you money. People like me are going to spend a lot more money on Star Wars. I have all this I don't have as much as some people do, but I have a shelf full of this here and a shelf full at home.
Let me tell you, you weren't lying. When you go to Star Wars land and you do the expensive stuff, there was no one there under the age of like 38.
Yeah.
It was all old people.
All these people, they're getting
reliving their youth.
Twitter and saying how great the Acolyte are. They don't know anything about what happened.
They weren't making their own
and they're not spending money on stuff. Just be good business people. Be smart, stop and get out of your, don't let your ego get in the way of making good product.
I mean, this is what's happening to Marvel. Like, Marvel's going through this first of Star Wars. Like, that's why they're bringing back, Dr. Doom. They're redoing the whole thing, bringing back
the Wachowski brothers back.
All of it, because they're like, we cannot keep making these movies that aren't profiting. So let's do what worked. The Avengers, Robert Downey Jr., the Russo brothers.
Let me ask you: is anybody excited about Ironheart coming out?
No. It's the only reason it's being released because it's already been made.
They spent millions of dollars on it, so they're going to release it. But I'm
Thunderbolts. I'll watch that one.
I'll watch it, but I'm not excited about it. But Fantastic Four, I'm a little excited about. I wasn't a huge fan of the casting of Pedro Pascal. I think he's a great actor. I just don't think he's Reed Richards. There's other actors I thought were better suited to be Reed Richards, but the rest of the cast I like.
Well, so the theory of this is that Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four and Galactus are going to destroy their planet, get them to cross over into different universes, bringing in the X-Men and all that stuff. And
there's the bridge theory on the board and all that stuff.
And that's what's going to reset the Marvel universe, which is what we're hoping we see for the Star Wars universe, because they got the same memo that Star Wars did of like, we can't keep spending $300 million for a movie to make $100 million. It's very simple.
You can say it like this for Marvel and for Star Wars: go woke, go broke. It's that simple. You're going broke because you went woke. Most of us out here don't care about any of your political agenda. We don't care about your social programs. We just want to watch good content. And Luke Skywalker doesn't have a vagina.
Yeah.
Right? Han Solo got a big cock.
Yeah.
And
he uses it.
Leia, hotter than fucking fire.
Don't ask him how he knows about the cock.
I just assumed Harrison Ford, that life that guy's lived. He's like, whoa, he's a badass. Yeah. I like listening to him talk to reporters more than anything. It's like comedy. When people interview him, he is so hard on them.
He's this grumpy old guy.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a grumpy old guy too now. So, but anyway, that's our Star Wars talk for today. And you might see us doing another podcast really soon. We're in the same exact outfits. So see you later.